In the beginning, the Almighty One El Adonai created Lucifer, the Lightbringer, from a drop of his own blood, a cherub angel with 4 multicolored wings from which he plucked 7 feathers to form the 7 realms of Shamayim. Though vast multitudes of other angels were made, with the greatest among them given dominion over these regions, Lucifer stood above them all as chief prince, second in authority to El Adonai, who largely withdrew from public life, leaving his creations to govern themselves. As a result, Lucifer became the most visible face of authority within Shamayim. Held in such high regard, some considered him a being of equal status to the Almighty. Yet Lucifer did not view himself in such a light, seeking to demonstrate his devotion to El Adonai by building a great house of worship. Despite being warned by the Creator that such a project was against his will, Lucifer's friend and closest follower Matmanel convinced him to proceed with the construction. When at last the house of worship was revealed, Matmanel unveiled his own contribution, adding the face of Lucifer to a great statue meant to depict the Creator. Marveling over the magnificence of this great work, many of the angels praised Lucifer, who grew addicted to the love and adulation of the masses. Yet from the greatest of heights, Lucifer felt dragged to his lowest point when gracefully rebuked by El Adonai for his disobedience. Though the Creator did not punish his beloved prince, Lucifer was passed over for the newly revealed position of Elect One, a being meant to represent the Creator, who was therefore above the Lightbringer in authority. Needing time to contemplate his future, Lucifer sought solitude, where he grew ever more angry and resentful over his treatment, coming to agree with many of his followers, who claimed he was or should be an equal to the Almighty. And since El Adonai was proving himself a poor leader and judge, the Lightbringer should take his place as Lord of all creation. After the humiliation of their chief and his withdrawal from public life, Lucifer's disciples grew frustrated at his long absence, while their resentment grew toward the Archangel Michael's followers, who governed with the blessing of El Adonai. Yet for the most part, they remained loyal to their leader, holding secret meetings to reaffirm their devotion. Returning to his 10 closest acolytes, Lucifer rewarded their patience and dedication by revealing an underground fortress lair where he prepared a grand army of warrior angels, equipped with deadly weapons of war, before yelling out in defiance, "Let there be rebellion, let there be oblivion, let there be a great war in heaven, unleash the legions to battle." Appointing his followers as Grand Masters to lead his legions, roughly 60% of all angels initially joined the rebellion, while 30% remained faithful, and 10% declared their neutrality. Taking place over 4 billion years, Lucifer's great war in heaven saw the rebels win many early battles, as the faithful had few weapons and were entirely unprepared for war. Armed mostly with staffs and bows, the faithful did not start producing their own armaments until 1 billion years into the conflict, at which point it was too late to turn the tide crashing upon them. When early reports reached Michael that Lucifer's rebels were attacking the 7 realms by land, sea, and air, he was wisely advised to withdraw from the realm Maon, where it was clear they could not hold back the invasion, in order to reinforce the great warrior Casael in the 7th realm Aravath, where they might make a strategic last stand and possibly prevent the enemy from taking the large white throne of El Adonai. Yet Michael stubbornly refused, believing their sacrifice might buy the Creator time to rally further defenses. Leading the rebel armies into the 1st realm of Vilon, Matmanel used irregular military tactics to gain a swift advantage over Gabriel, who oversaw and defended the region on behalf of the faithful. Despite Matmanel's rapid progress, Gabriel would not yield and fought with his warriors until the bitter end, making his enemies pay a heavy price for every part of the realm they conquered. Yet soon enough, Matmanel was victorious, and Vilon fell to the rebellion. Within the second realm of Rakia, Shelumel and Kemuel led their forces to capture much of the territory, but their advance was halted upon laying siege to the last fortification, where the faithful Raphael held the forward bastion with 470 million warrior angels, while Zuriel's men occupied the central stronghold. Outnumbering and surrounding the defenders, Shelumel and Kemuel grew overconfident, singing songs of victory before the fighting was over. Yet time after time, their armies broke against the forward bastion, unable to make it through. Raphael's valiant defense then gave Zuriel time to organize his men into war parties, which he led against the invaders, slowly diminishing their numbers and morale. As a result, the rebels took most of Rakia, but could not complete their conquest, as the faithful remained in control of the last stronghold, forcing the enemy to maintain the siege throughout the entirety of the conflict. In the third realm of Shekakim, Lucifer's Grand Master Lemuel led an aerial assault against the faithful Anakel and Samuel, who put forth a fierce resistance that might have done great damage to the enemy, if not for a terrible betrayal which shattered their defenses. When Muro, chieftain of the Ophanim Angels, arrived as reinforcements for the faithful of Shekakim, Samuel was skeptical, feeling something was odd about these warriors arriving to defend a realm that was not their own. Anakel, however, knew they needed the help and believed in the sincerity of Muro, convincing Samuel to accept their assistance, a decision he soon came to regret when in the midst of battle, Anakel signaled for the Ophanim to attack the enemy, only for Morl and his forces to charge their spears directly into the ranks of the faithful, declaring themselves for the rebellion. Seeing his army slaughtered, Anakel was surrounded, but slayed 100 million Ophanim traitors before being harpooned with great javelins, captured and taken before Lemuel in chains. Although Samuel managed to escape the massacre, he would not leave his friend to endure torment and mockery, embarking upon a daring rescue mission where he tore his way through enemy ranks, ripping apart rebels with his bare hands until at last reaching and liberating Anakel. While the actions of Samuel became a story of legend, it did not change the fact that Shekakim fell to the rebels.